MacVoices Holiday Gift Guide number 7, Part 2. This is MacVoices. MacVoices is sponsored by Upstart, fair and fast personal loans. Go to upstart.com/MacVoices and find out how Upstart can lower your monthly payments. Welcome to MacVoices. This is the talk of the Apple community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, this is part 2 in Holiday Gift Guide number 7, the final part of our gift guide of the final gift guide for 2021. This time we have a virtual panel. As I explained in the last edition, sometimes lining up the schedules can be a challenge, so we wanted to make sure these folks still got in on the gift picking, and so we taped individual sessions with them, mashed them all up into one big gift guide, and we will wrap up our gift guide with this. Let's let the panel go back and do the talking. So this is round 3, so now you have to really look hard at your list and figure out, what do I want to go with? Because we've only got 2 more picks left.
Mm-hmm. Well, the good news is I've got a really nerdy one that I'm pretty sure nobody else is going to pick this year, which is the Brother P-Touch Cube Plus. Now, this is a label maker. It is quite a chunky beast. It is $100, but it is an amazing label maker that you can print loads and loads of labels, and you can type it in on your phone, connected to your Mac, whatever it is you prefer to do this. It's not one of the ones with a built-in keypad. You do need to connect it to another device, but it connects via Bluetooth to do that, or cable if you're connecting it to your Mac, and you can even do things like mail merge. But what's really great is it has several different tape widths that are compatible with it. So usually a label maker, you get it, and it's maybe got like a 1/4 of an inch label height as the maximum, and that's fine. But sometimes you just want bigger labels, or you want to be able to print a barcode or a QR code to stick on something. And this is where the P-Touch Cube Plus comes in, because you can print all of those. You can write a whole list of labels that you want to print, and on the Mac import them into the software and use their mail merge type function to print all of those labels. I have to say, when I was recabling my TV cabinet recently, this certainly made it an awful lot easier, because I was able to go through and label all the things, and then when I was unplugging, the HomePod, I knew it was definitely the HomePod because it said HomePod on it, and there was no confusion or ambiguity as to what it was I was unplugging. So it certainly makes things easier when you're trying to sort those out. And of course, if you've got cables that you want to organize and label, then you can get some zip bags, and you can just label the zip bags and put the cables in those. So these are USB-A to Lightning, these are USB-C to Lightning, these are HDMI. And if you put those nice big waterproof labels on them, then they will be very easy to find and grab later.
You may have just cost me some money, because I love the idea of having printed labels on things, especially to organize old cables and storage boxes of whatever. And yet label making has always been just sort of a pain. And so if this would connect by Bluetooth and let me run from my Mac or my iPhone, I think it cost me money.
I'm sorry about that, Chuck. Would you like me to give you a little bonus here, a secret bonus? It doesn't really count, because right back here I have a little secret, which I can show all of the wonderful people who are watching. And that's these. They are sort of mesh plastic bags with a color zipper on them. I put cables in these, so I group all the cables together. I wrap each cable, and I drop it in here as a type, and then I just label this as the type. So it would say HDMI or Ethernet or whatever on here. And then all these live in a box, and then I can just flick through, and I'm looking for Ethernet. I pull out the one that's labeled Ethernet, and I know everything in there is an Ethernet cable, so I just have to find the right length. And that makes organizing old and spare cables much, much easier.
You're way too organized, Rosemary.
No, the problem is that I'm usually very disorganized, but when I try to get organized, I really do my absolute best to make it easier on my future self when I'm looking for these things to actually find them so that I can use them. Because there is nothing worse than knowing you have 10 Ethernet cables in the house and not being able to find a single one of them. So this is how I try my best to solve that problem.
Yeah, because none of us have ever done that. Go looking for a cable, and you have half a dozen of them, and you can't find one.
Yep. And the correct solution to the problem when you can't find any of them is to Amazon Prime them. And then 2 minutes before the delivery person rings the doorbell, you will find your stash of cables.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah. Round 3, Bart. What do you got? I know at this point you've got to start narrowing down your list and saying, what am I going to pick for the last two? So
yeah, so I've been thinking about what have I been spending a lot of time with tech-wise this year. And the other thing that I have gone all in on is AirTags. I wasn't sure if they would be useful, so I bought a 4-pack, and then I bought another 4-pack, and then I bought 2 more. They're not all for me, right? There's 2 of us in the house. But all I have all the obvious stuff, right? The keyring, Bell can do a lovely keyring adapter, that's great. But the one I really, really, really wanted was my wallet. And actually getting a good AirTag holder for the wallet isn't as straightforward as you'd think, because I don't like having a big bulky wallet, so I wanted to hide it where the cards go. And Nomad released the most amazing thing. It is basically a thick credit card which holds an AirTag. And you just slip it in your wallet, and hey presto, you now have an AirTag in your wallet.
Show that again. Is it not? I mean,
it's very convex, right? So it is doing a bit of a miracle, but look, it's a real AirTag that. Oops. I'll find that later. But yeah, look, so you just stick the AirTag in. There you go.
That's really. I mean, I'm shocked that that's another one I haven't seen yet. But when I think of trying to put an AirTag in my wallet, it's like, well, that's just going to be great. It's going to be this big hump in there.
It's very curved, so it really, really doesn't. Because I initially had it in where the coins go, and it's the world's thickest coin, and it actually, like, you could feel it when you sat down. Right?
Yeah. Put
it in your back pocket. You sit there and you go, oh, there's my AirTag. But honest to goodness, with this yoke, it's perfect. They did a really good job designing this. So I know Nomad do lots of really good leather products and stuff. But I think they did themselves here. I think it's a fabulous little thing. So I think it was $24, and I had to wait for it to ship from the States. So it took a while to arrive, but I am extremely happy with it.
Well, just when you held it up, I thought, what? Wait, has he taken the AirTag apart or something? Because that just looks. I mean, it doesn't look credit card thin, but it looks very
exactly.
It's a very, very acceptable thinness to go in my wallet.
Yeah, they've done an amazing job of sculpting it to be just right. And because this is so cheap, I figured I would sneak in a sneaky extra pick. Because the other thing I want is my backpack, right? My backpack contains lots of stuff. I don't want to lose my backpack. But how do you easily put an AirTag on a backpack? Well, Amazon suggested, when I searched for AirTag, for a whopping £4, they do a little silicone yoke that's designed to go on a dog's collar, right? So it has the AirTag and 2 holes, and then you thread the dog collar through it. But backpacks have straps. So if you can thread it through a dog collar, you can thread it through one of the straps on your backpack. So there is my AirTag on the backpack. And they're like, you will find them all over Amazon in every color you can imagine. They're just neoprene. Just search for neoprene pet tag, AirTag. And you'll find 500 buying options in 1,000 different countries in every color you can imagine. And literally anything that is a strap, you can just stick one of these on. And hey presto, AirTag. So all of our backpacks have them either here or on a side strap. And it works perfectly. And they are just dirt cheap. So that is how I have managed to get AirTags into awkward places. And the keyrings are a given, right? Everyone's selling keyrings of 20 million shapes for AirTags.
Yeah. But Bart, when you held that up now, it didn't scream AirTag. It just looked like it was something attached to that. So it's not the kind of thing that anybody would look for and try to rip off and throw in the trash to then make off with your backpack.
Exactly. Nice and subtle. And it's very robust because the tag is behind the neoprene. So the tag is basically facing into the strap. And so if you want to take it out, you have to lift it up and then pull the AirTag out. But it's never going to fall out because it's, the neoprene is holding it in. So it works extremely well. And like I said, you will find 100 different sellers selling them. They're obviously all knockoffs of each other. It's little bits of neoprene, I mean, there's nothing to them. But I found them extremely useful.
Absolutely. Nice. So, okay, there's another one. At least that's not terribly expensive. That's something.
Apart from the AirTags that go in them.
Well, yeah, there's that, but unlike you, I've bought a set, so I have a couple. I guess I have a couple now waiting in the wings for something to do. But this will replace what I already have on my backpack. So, good pick. Next up, round 3. Frank Petrie is back. Frank, what do you have for us this round?
Okay. This time we're going to go aesthetic. Everybody likes to doodle around doing some shots or, other stuff with iMovie and things like that. I've been watching lately, I've been getting into stuff that you can do with GarageBand on iOS. And there's a lot of people, like beat makers, who get beat apps, and they actually have been taking the iPad mini out in the park, and they just sit outside and they just build their thing because the chips have just gotten that powerful. Well, I was watching one show, and I've been toying with the idea of doing a podcast. And instead of getting somebody else's music, because I played in bands, I decided that there was some stuff I had written years ago that would make a nice little opening theme and a good closing theme, intro and outro. So I thought, well, I really don't want to spend a lot of money on a keyboard with weighted keys. I'm not a pianist at all. So getting something with 88 keys is even 32 keys. It makes no point. So what I did is I found a thing called Microlab. This is the Microlab here. It's so hard to say. I got so many things on my screen. And it's just regular velocity sensitive keys. And instead of, you usually have the wheel here for pitch, and without my glasses, who knows what the other thing is. But, you can mess around with it and stuff like that. And it's great in the sense that, as long as you get the right, it comes with software from a company in Paris, light versions of it. But the effects are amazing. I mean, it has samples of keyboards from Hammond B3s to Mellotrons to incredible grand pianos from concert halls. So you can actually do some neat stuff. But what I thought was now, it's always the little things that really grab my attention. Okay, so you got this. Let's say you take your computer or your iPad, you're out under a tree, and you got your software and you're doing your recording. Now, whenever you go somewhere and you go to do something, what's the worst part of bringing equipment?
Wait.
No. Trying to find cables.
Oh, okay.
Making sure you pack the right cable. Oh, did you get somewhere you go to do it? You forgot the cable. These people came up with what I thought was an ingenious idea. What they did, see if I guess I can show it from that point. Okay, you see the cables dangling there, right? Now, when you're done, all you do is you take the cable, stick it in there, pull it around there. Make sure I do this right. And you put the end in there. There. Cable's attached. So you don't have to worry about fishing around for this stinking thing. It's already attached to it. So I that alone sort of sold me because that just seems so clever. Whenever I see something that I think is really clever and I need something like that, some company does something that's just that one little thing where they were thinking of the people that are going to use it. I go with that. So when I saw, well, if you saw my desk, today I discovered a couple of power bricks. I haven't a clue as to what they go to. So actually finding this thing and that the cable stays on it, it was like a no-brainer because all I have to do is I just reach for the keyboard And I know I can just plug it in to one of my hubs. I'm set. Fire up GarageBand. I've got the plugins all set. I just can go about my biz. So this is called Microlab, and that goes for $90.
Frank, you're absolutely right. You know, it's funny that things now, I don't have a use for something like that because I'm not a musician by any means. But the cable part, you are 100%, spot on. They're just to kind of give people a little different perspective. There are a lot of power bricks out there by a lot of great companies and are some great value. But there are a few companies that make some with built-in cables that just they fold into the device. And those are the ones I go for every time because I'm not going to have to dig through my pack to find where's the cable and then get the power brick and then put it in. I just pop the cable out, stick it in my phone, and go. And so that is you're absolutely right. That is a really, really nice feature.
Yeah, so I was amazed with it. It's like I learned more and more how much I don't know keyboard, but it's fun, and even if you weren't going to do anything really serious, this is just a nice way, like to blow away an afternoon. Just instead of just watching a tube, kick in GarageBand. Apple right now is releasing tons and tons of loop packages and stuff from various entertainers and stuff, and you wouldn't believe the stuff you can put together. And then I went online and I found a whole bunch of plugins. I found I was looking for a particular saxophone sound. Cost me $5, and I ended up getting like 40 different saxophones. So I was like, yeah, okay, no brainer. I could do the whole thing for under $100.
Frank, don't tell me these things. I don't have time for this. I want to have time for this because it'd be so much fun to play with. And that's the kind of size and price point that would appeal to somebody like me that just wants to play.
Yes.
And that's
exactly
important.
Like I said. My thing was I used to play guitar and bass, but keyboards were nuts, and they used to love at practice to put me on the drums because I have absolutely no rhythm at all. For some reason, I could do rhythm on guitar. You put me on a drum kit, I am so uncoordinated. When there was nothing to do, they used to put me on the drum kit just to have a laugh because it was like. Let's see what he does with it. And they'd start playing something. He said, okay, play with it. And I'm like, and it's weird. I would hear things backwards. Where the snare should hit and where the kick drum should hit. I, for some reason, always heard it inverted. Mm-hmm. So when I should be hitting the kick drum, I'm hitting the snare. When I should be hitting the snare, I'm hitting the kick drum. And to me, I'm going, wow, this is an amazing song. And everybody's looking at me going like, what the heck are you doing? So anyhow,
stick with the keyboard.
This was my, yes. It's also good, if a small rodent comes in your house, you can always,
Okay, Mike, this is round 3. So now wherever your list is, you've got to start narrowing it down and try to figure out what are the next 2 best picks you have. So what are you going to give us for round 3?
Round 3. Okay, so this is not techie, but it's perhaps a little geeky. But I've learned through MacStock that there are a large number of D&D players out there in the Mac world, especially those who attend MacStock. This is something that just was released back in October. So it's a relatively new book in the D&D world. And this is Fizbin's Treasury of Dragons. Now, while I'm not a regular D&D player at the moment, I do love the guides. And one of the favorite things I like to do is just sit down and read them. I always loved reading the monster manuals. They're like encyclopedias of creatures you might run into in the D&D world, or maybe in the real world. I don't know. But but they're reference manuals for the world of D&D. Well, Wizards of the Coast, the current publishers of D&D, just released this, and I consider this the ultimate monster manual for dragons. Again, it's Fizbin's Treasury of Dragons. And look, if you want to know about dragons in D&D, this is the book you want to get. This is the ultimate reference guide to these creatures. It includes things like the differences between the types of dragons, their lairs, and of course, their magical abilities. So all that stuff is in here. And you need to know this stuff if you're going to encounter dragons within your campaigns, right? So what I was thinking is, even if the person, because, going back to what I said a little while ago about just loving to read these monster manuals, they're like encyclopedias of creatures. So even if the person that you're buying for is not a regular D&D player, and come on, you're going to buy this for yourself, aren't you? I know you're going to buy this for yourself. But even if they're not a regular D&D player, but maybe it's just someone who loves dragons, I think they're going to love this book. If anyone just wants to learn more about these magical monsters, I still think this is going to be a great gift. Now, what makes this one, I'm seeing myself in reverse, so what makes this particular guide special is that this is the alternate art cover for Fizbin's Treasury of Dragons. There's a regular version of this as well, but the alternate art covers can only be found at your favorite local specialty store or game shop. So not only is it a great gift for that special D&D player in your life, but it also supports your favorite local shop at the same time. So that's what makes these really cool. These are D&D books are $49.95, and I'll send you a link to read more about this particular guide. And there's even some previews on Wizards of the Coast's website. So, cool book. I love these guides.
Excellent. I believe that I have this right. Charles Edge, I think, picked one or two D&D oriented things in an earlier gift guide, and I think those have been the only ones we've had picked this year. So. And it seems somehow very appropriate that you would pick a Dragon's Guide. Not sure why. It just seems appropriate.
Always love dragons. Now, I'll tell you, in January, there's a new, for people who are getting these guides as a gift for someone, there's a new box set of the most recent D&D guides. There's a box set coming out in January, and there's an alternate art cover version of it, too. And it's got a completely different cover than this one. And that's about $150. It's got 3 of the most recent guides in it, including a new guide that's coming out in January. And that also, anything that's an alternate art cover is also just available in specialty shops and game stores. And they're often allocated. So these shops only get a certain number of them in at a time. So if it's something you're interested in, make sure you go in your favorite local shop, let them know you're interested, and hopefully they'll be able to reserve a copy for you.
Yeah. And I love the fact that you mentioned the local shops, because that's something that is, everybody talks about shopping locally, but it's tough to do at times. And this is a nice way that the local shops are able to distinguish themselves, pull you in, let you see what else they have, get you into the habit of checking it out with people that really know their stuff, as opposed to just clicking a link on a website somewhere. So good.
Yeah.
Good job.
And I think it's great that Wizards of the Coast is doing that they're making these special editions available so that local shops have something unique and different to offer their customers than just what can be found anywhere.
This edition of MacVoices is supported by Upstart, fair and fast personal loans. Go to upstart.com/MacVoices and find out how Upstart can lower your monthly payments. The last year has put stresses on everyone about so many aspects of daily life, but no aspect more so than our financial lives. It was easy and often necessary to get into financial hardship then, but now's the time to get out, and that's where Upstart comes in. Upstart is a fast and easy way to pay off credit cards, high-interest debt, or to fund personal expenses. It's all done online with loans of $1,000 to $50,000. A 5-minute rate check is all it takes, and you can receive your funds as fast as 1 business day after accepting your loan. Where Upstart really shines, however, is that they look at you, not just your credit score. Your income and employment can lead to a smarter rate for your loan. Find out how Upstart can lower your monthly payments today when you go to upstart.com/MacVoices. That's Upstart, UPSTART.com/MacVoices. Don't forget to use my URL so they know I sent you. Loan amounts will be determined based on your credit, income, and certain other information provided in your loan application. Go to upstart.com/MacVoices. Thanks to Upstart for their support of MacVoices. Rosemary, before I ask you for your last gift pick, your round 4 gift pick, I'd like an explanation of why there is a blue octopus with a what looks to be a Christmas tree hat on it.
Yes, this is my octopus. It's an emotion octopus, so you can turn it inside out if you're feeling a bit grumpy. And essentially, I just decided to spruce up my office a little bit for Christmas. And so I added the Christmas tree hat, which is going to be one of my bonus app caps for iOS Today later this month. And I thought, add a few decorations while recording the gift guide. Why not?
So wait a minute. Explain the turn the octopus inside out. I'm not quite clear on that.
So essentially, the octopus, if you look underneath one of the legs, you can just see a little bit of pink sticking out. What I can do if I take the hat off the octopus, very important first step, is I can actually push the head of the octopus inside, and the pink will show all the way around then, because there's pink everywhere, and it's got a little grumpy face on it instead. They are very cute, and there's lots of them around. I have some rainbow ones from some friends. I've got a little one somewhere. I think, actually, I even have, right here, one ready for show and tell. It's a little one. This pink side is happy on this one. And then if I flip it inside out, it's a little grumpy. So I better flip it back out to happy mode. But there we go.
It almost looks like a sleight of hand. Why an octopus?
Almost.
Is that just the way they come, or
I think that it's probably a very easy shape to do the flipping on, because most of the stuffing is in one place, and you don't need to manipulate the stuffing in the legs for this. So, yeah.
Okay. Very interesting. Very interesting. I didn't mean to derail us, but I just felt like the octopus has made an appearance. I've got to ask about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
what do we have?
Curious.
What do we have for round 4?
Well, round 4, I decided to go with a little bit of a cheat in that it's a multi-pack from Anker, and it's their Anker Magnetic Wireless Charger MagGo. So this isn't quite MagSafe, but if you do have one of the 13 Pro range with MagSafe built into the back, then you will be able to take advantage of this. And this Anker charger is actually a battery that slides into a charger, and also the block to plug it into the wall, so that you can wirelessly charge your phone. There's a little base station that you can put your AirPods or similar on to charge those as well. And of course, then you can take the battery out with you when you need to go somewhere, so you have a battery pack that you know is charged because you've been using it to charge your phone, and it passes the power through and then recharges the battery afterwards. And it also comes in a variety of colors, which is quite nice. It comes in white and black, and it also comes in a lovely misty blue. But as somebody who previously bought some of the other Anker MagGo products, I was so happy with them. When I saw this, I just knew I had to get it and pick it. So the good news is my parents have benefited from some of the other Anker MagGo products that I previously purchased as part of this, because it comes with a MagSafe battery, or a MagSafe-like battery, which is actually approximately 3 times the capacity of Apple's battery. So it's very similar size and shape, but much larger capacity. And it sticks really well, and it recharges my phone really well too. So extra bonus is all the way around.
There's so many great little ideas having to do with MagSafe and charging and batteries and portability and usability. And one day I'm waiting for somebody to come out with one battery that just does all of those things. But for right now, there are a lot of great options out there, and you really have to pay attention and see what they are, and then figure out what those use cases mean for you.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And for me, the beauty of MagSafe is that I can very easily check a battery pack in my bag with me. And then if I need it, then I can just stick it on the back of my phone. I don't have to worry about cables or anything like that and things getting snagged or caught. If I reach in to grab my phone, the battery comes out with it and it's not, tugging it out of my bag with like this, cable that's half stuck to it, or the cable comes out, or it comes out of the battery pack. That's the worst part, when it comes out of the battery pack and you don't realize. So magnetic batteries are pretty easy to tell. If it's on the phone, it should be charging. And in the Anchor's case as well, it's got a little power button on the bottom where you can, force it to turn on, but also you can see the charge level because it's got some little light up LEDs next to it, which is really handy. And it's also USB-C rather than Lightning, which can be a very nice feature if you're traveling with your phone and want to limit the number of cables because nothing else uses Lightning anymore.
Yeah. I'm slowly making the transition to MagSafe. For a long time, I felt like anytime I want to have my battery charging, I want to be getting the maximum charge going in possible. Mm-hmm. And that means plugging it in. But I'm slowly coming around to the idea of convenience of MagSafe. Yeah. And maybe it's not as important that I get that extra X percentage charge while it's plugged in, because it can be connected easier via MagSafe longer.
Exactly. And I end up ahead of the game. That is definitely the benefit for me. So I have the Anchor charger on my desk. And even though I use a MagSafe pop socket most of the time, it's easy enough to just pop this off and then pop it on the charger. And I still have the convenience of being able to see and use my phone when I want and need to. Can easily pick it up and reattach because it's MagSafe. It takes seconds to do, if that. The part that takes longest is usually I have a purple desk mat, and this pop socket blends in really, really well at times. So it's usually hunting around on my desk for, there it is. It was blending in again before I pop it back on. And then I'm off. I'm ready to go. And my phone is fully charged, as always.
As I would have expected, those are 4 great picks, at least one of which is going to cost me money. Plus, I may have to get an octopus of my own.
They are very cute. They are extremely difficult to come by over here in the UK right now, but I'm sure they'll be back in stock shortly after the holidays. But they are rather cute, if only because, they're adorable and squishy. And if you're feeling cranky, you can turn it inside out and look at the cranky side, and then, try and flip your emotions as you flip it back to happy.
I'll let you know how it goes over here in the US finding an octopus. Yeah.
Please do.
So, Rosemary, before you get out of here, I want to make sure we let folks know where they can find you, what all you're doing now, because I know it seems like you forever are changing projects and adding more projects to what you do. So what's the current roster?
I'm hosting a couple of podcasts. I've got Above the Mess with Maddie and Izzy, where we talk about productivity and how it affects our lives specifically. I have iOS Today on the Twit network with Micah Sargent, where every week we look at something in the iOS world and cover the news. Shortcuts Corner, some feedback, and of course wear a silly hat and pick an app at the end of the episode. Automators, all about automating everything: iOS, your home, your Mac, all of the things. And of course Nested Folders, which is a productivity podcast about what it is that we do to make ourselves actually be productive. Apart from that, you can find me at rosemaryorchard.com, which has links to all of the things. So hopefully everything is all there.
So if you want to Rosemary all the time, you can pretty much get it. So just MacVoices and Rosemary shows. That's all you need, right?
Yes, I don't quite live in an episode of The Truman Show or anything similar, but I am widely available on the internet because it's such great fun and there's such wonderful people out there to talk to and communicate with and to share wonderful, amazing things with. So why not?
That's some of the best part of our community is the people, no question about it. No
Absolutely.
Question. We love the buttons, but the people are what make it.
Agreed. Very much agreed.
Rosemary, thanks so much for being here and being part of this year's gift guide, and happy holidays to you and yours.
Thank you very much. And the same to you and, of course, everybody watching and listening.
Round 4, Bart. This is your chance to have a really big finish for this year's holiday gift guide. How big is it going to be?
I should have gone the other way around, shouldn't I, and gone too expensive. It wouldn't be a holiday gift guide from me if I didn't try to do a little bit of bike safety as part of this. So I've picked cat eye lights and all sorts of things in the past. But recently I was very cranky because the rear view mirror on my bike broke. And it was really hard to get one I didn't hate. like really hard. And then I went back to Amazon to replace it and found that the company who made the one I didn't hate have a new model out that I adore. So the last one I tolerated, but it was the least bad of a very, very bad set. But they have replaced it with the newer model, and the difference is that this one now, basically, right, so it makes these things good. There's loads of bike mirrors that are detachable, which they recommend. They call it a feature. It's not a feature, it's a bug, because they're tiny. As soon as you hit a pothole, they move. You can never get them adjusted. And if you do happen to magically get them right, 2 minutes later, they'll be wrong again. And certainly when you get home, they'll be wrong again because the bloody thing is detachable. So what you need is one that actually attaches to your bike. And you don't want it to make your bike too much wider. So what ZFAL is the name of the company do is they do ones that slide into the end of your handlebars, and they have an Allen nut that just widens them. So you slide it in, you tighten the nut, and it locks in place. And then the mirror itself, you can adjust it until you tighten it. And it's on a little hinge on it, and you just flip it in. And then it's basically effectively flat to the bike. I mean, yeah, okay, you have an extra ½ inch, but it's basically gone. So when you have the bike in the house or whatever, you just flip it in. And as soon as you flip it out, it's exactly where it's supposed to be. So you actually will see what's behind you and not the sky or the ground or whatever, right? It'll actually show you what you need to see. And the last one from ZFAL it did all of that and it was great, but it was quite small. So you'd find yourself sort of, bobbing your head to try to get the right bit of what's behind you in the rearview mirror. So what's new in this one is it's about 3 times the size of the old one. And I like it so much, this is my spare. So that's why that's why I don't have a bike. That's why my mountain bike isn't on the bed, right? Because I like to do a show and tell, and I don't really want to have the mountain bike on the bed behind me. So this is my spare one. And they are like £5 on Amazon or something. So ZFAL is the company. It's called a Dooback, DOOBACK. Strange name for a mirror. And they come in left and right-handed flavors. So depending on which side of the Atlantic you're on, you can have it, because you want it on the outside where the traffic is, not on the inside where it's safe. So, I just think if you're going to be on the bike, it's very, very easy not to hear cars behind you, especially electric cars. That is now becoming more of a thing, and they can frighten the ever-loving bejesus out of you. The other thing that frightens the ever-loving bejesus out of you is large buses with the engine in the back. They're 40 foot long. The nose has hit you long before you hear the engine back there. It scares the bejesus out of you, and then you hear, it's too late now. So I actually wouldn't cycle without a mirror anymore. When the last one broke, I had to cycle without a mirror for a few days. And I just realized, oh, no. This is how you get killed. So anyone who does a lot of cycling, get a mirror. The ZFAL Dooback is amazingly good. It will actually show you what's behind you and not drive you nuts. Because a lot of people buy them, they're terrible, they get used once, and they get thrown away. These won't. These will actually stay with you and keep you safe. So I think that is a very important pick.
Yeah, I think it's a very important pick. And I have to admit, now I'm not a cyclist, but you pass them all the time. And I'm always kind of intrigued by the mirrors. Some of them have them mounted on their helmets, some of them on the bikes, but they always look like what the dentist uses to do an examination. And it's like, I guess it's better than nothing, but I often wonder, it's like, okay, how does this really work? What you just showed there, what you just showed makes a huge amount of sense to me as a non-cyclist, that you're going to have a lot. Yeah, you can see a whole lot more. And as you said, that just automatically translates to safety.
Yeah, I have tried the ones you mount on your wrist. I've tried the ones you mount on your shoulder. I've tried the ones you mount in your helmet. They're all terrible because you can't be accurate, they're all convex. And so the whole universe is teeny tiny. Objects may appear smaller. No, objects may appear microscopic. Like, you have the effect in your side mirror on the car, but it's nothing compared to the effect on those convex mirrors. Like, unless someone is in your face, you won't see them in those little convex ones. So you're absolutely right to think they're terrible, because they're terrible. But yeah, okay, they are better than nothing, because at night, a headlight is a headlight is a headlight, right? If all you really see in your mirror at night is, are there lights or are there no lights? And whether I see them as tiny lights or big lights, I guess it's still valuable information. But I want to actually see what's behind me. I want to actually see what's going on back there.
Yeah, well, I mean, in that regard, I don't think a bike is that much different than a car.
It isn't, but people treat it differently, and I don't know why.
No. Well, I meant from the mirror standpoint, not that I have a decent sized mirror in my car, and
exactly
that's what I would want on the bike. To have
right,
an
but
idea.
most people seem to think that you're a weirdo if you have a mirror on your bike, and I'm thinking, do you like having a crick in your neck? Or do you just pull out in front of traffic and hope for the best? Which is it?
Well, there's I've seen some bicycles that I think subscribe to the latter theory that I'm on a bike, so I have the right of way. And
I actually had someone pull up next to me in a van recently enough, and I thought, oh God, I'm going to get abuse. And it was a builder, and he wound down the window and he shouted at me, "Amazing! A cyclist who signals! Thank you!" And he drove off. I was like, okay, thank you.
Yep. See, you're raising the status of your tribe there.
Yeah, clearly. I was a bit disappointed he was so surprised. I was like, no, I shouldn't get complimented for signaling. Isn't that the basic minimum? Don't treat the road like, anyway.
I'm unfortunately, and please don't send any emails, folks, but it seems like certain bicyclists and motorcyclists give the whole genre a bad name because they don't do so many of those things. They just ride down the center on the motorcycles, and the bikes they take up half the road, and they're entitled to part of the road as long as they can keep up with the speed.
Part of it.
But that's
And then there's the inverse, right? Because if you're a cyclist, if you're a driver, because I do both. I drive and I cycle. So when I'm driving, I notice the bad cyclists, and the good cyclists pass you by because they don't cause you any trouble, right? You don't make a mental note of every good cyclist you see. What you make a mental note of is the bloody idiot you nearly killed. Yeah. Not because you were driving badly, because they were being idiots. And when you're on the bike, it's the exact opposite. All of the drivers who are really nice, they don't register, right? They just drive by. The idiot who nearly kills you, on the other hand, they get registered in your head, and as a cyclist, you're going, all drivers are terrible. And then you get on the bike, and it's the same you, and suddenly everything flips around. It's like, hang on a second.
I think we just described human nature, Bart. we all tend to remember the bad. That's
true. Anyway, Chuck, I'm going to be really, really, really sneaky because I couldn't get down to 4, so I'm sneaking in my sneak pick because it's not me if there isn't a coffee-related pick.
I wondered what was going to happen. There had to be a coffee-related something.
There had to be. So I am the world's biggest fan of a French company called Bodum, Bodum. And believe it or not, this is an insulated glass, which means it keeps my coffee nice and warm. So it's a double-walled glass vessel with a little special valve underneath that lets the air in and out, depending as my coffee heats up and cools down. And it's dishwasher safe. And it holds a really generous amount of coffee. It keeps it warm, looks beautiful. And because it's glass, it doesn't absorb flavor. So you can drink tea in it one day and coffee in it another day, and it's fine. Whereas if you try that with a stainless steel travel mug, well, the coffee will be okay with the taste of tea, but never drink tea out of a mug that's had coffee in it, I guess. Oh my God, that is disgusting. And then as a bonus, there's a company called Beanies that do flavored instant coffees that are 2 calories a cup. And they have just done their Christmas range, so I am now drinking a Christmas pudding flavored 2-calorie cup of delicious coffee in my Bodum glass. And smells of Christmas, tastes of Christmas. I'm dressed like Christmas, so I guess it must be Christmas.
What does Christmas pudding taste like?
Oh, of course you guys don't have Christmas pudding.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's really fruity, right? It's like a really dense fruit cake, like really, really fruity. There has to be alcohol in it, or it's not a proper Christmas cake. And plenty of spices, warm spices. So think pumpkin spice, those kind of flavors, but with a little bit of brandy or sherry or something. More cherry than you would normally have at Halloween, right? Cherry is a big thing in a Christmas pudding. And the spice, the warm spice. Very important.
That sounds really good. But now, does your Christmas pudding coffee come with alcohol, or do you add that after the fact?
There is no alcohol, but it is a Christmas tradition in this house that we buy a bottle of amaretto every year for coffee. And there's a shot of amaretto in a cup of coffee. It makes the world of difference. I believe it's called an Italian coffee, which is sort of the equivalent of the Irish coffee. But it is extremely nice. So there is a bottle of amaretto, which I don't open until the day I finish work. So tomorrow is my last day of work for the year. So tomorrow evening, my coffee will have some amaretto in it. And that nice almond-flavored liqueur goes very well with coffee.
So, folks, you thought you were tuning into the gift guide. Really, this is This Week in Coffee with Bart Busschots.
Right. This is what the pandemic does, right? I can't go out to buy coffee, so I've had to make my own nice coffee. So I have been obsessed with coffee all year, pretty much.
Yeah. I think a lot of us have been obsessed with a lot of things over the last year, Bart. Not all of them coffee,
Fair.
but
Fair.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for being here and contributing. You know, it's always great to see you. And next year, hopefully we can line up a panel that works for the folks in the European zone. As I'm trying to figure out how to call it now that there's been Brexit and everything. So
transatlantic, your transatlantic friends. I don't know.
There you go. I like that. Yeah, my transatlantic friends. So where can we find you when you're not here, telling us about coffee and bicycles and costing me money?
You can find me at bartb.ie, where there's links to everything I get up to, because I get up to far too much stuff. So bartb.ie. And
we should mention that that's podcasts, that's photography, that's Apple stuff. That's a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I'm a sort of a sysadmin, programmer, nerd, Apple person, photographer. So take your pick.
Yeah, I think that's the next T-shirt right there, Bart. All those things listed out.
I was in two minds, actually, whether to go with a really nerdy Star Trek T-shirt or the Santa T-shirt. Santa just about won, but I do have this fantastic red T-shirt that says "Red but not dead" with the original Star Trek logo on it. Because you know the joke, right?
Yeah.
If you're wearing a red uniform and you beam down to a planet, oopsie daisies.
Yeah, you're not coming back.
Yeah.
Well, red doesn't show the blood, so that's. I think that was the whole idea.
There you
go. Hey, thanks so much, Bart. Really appreciate it. Happy holidays to you and yours, and we'll see you on the flip side in 2022.
Thank you very much, Chuck. Same to yourself, and of course to all of the listeners. I hope everyone has as joyful and as meaningful a Christmas as is possible in these strange, strange times.
Okay, Frank, fourth round. This means this has to be your best pick or the best pick of the ones that you have left. What are you going to close out with?
Okay, what I'm going to close out with is something that, whether you're a pro, whether you're just starting out, or maybe you just want to get familiar with certain apps, certain procedures and stuff like that, I'm going to recommend that you go to Take Control Books, which is operated by Mr. Joe Kissel, who is a good friend of the show. You can find, you can find just about any kind of specific piece of software, like 1Password. You can find, they have one thing I've been looking at, and unfortunately, my desk doesn't show up, but it's how to do your paperless office. So I'm trying to learn that. There's also a whole thing on how to do backups on a Mac. And then, like I said, like 1Password, a lot of things like that. I have their iPad OS 15, iOS 15 book, the book on Monterey. And it's amazing the little stuff that Apple puts into their stuff. And the same goes for the other, coders. I mean, their apps just have these, you end up finding little things that you would have never come across otherwise, unless someone actually pointed it out to you. And then you learn that, and you find you can shave tons of time off of stuff. Or it's always something where you go, all the time you've been using that app, could have been years, you'd go, geez, if only they would do this. And then you read the book and you find out, well, yeah, it is there. Wow. It's like Christmas in the middle of summer,
Frank, I'm so glad you picked this because and folks know that watch Mac Voices, they know that every time a new book comes out, I try to get the author on to talk about it, even the updates.
Yeah, I like watching those.
Well, and as far as I'm concerned, it's like if you're buying a Take Control book, you're basically hiring these people who have spent hours and hours and hours and hours researching the changes, researching the updates, letting you know what works, what doesn't. It is one of my favorite sources because, just as you say, the little things, the big things, all the details, and the fact that they don't try to write the manual. I mean, that's it. It's take control of. So are they going to document every single feature? No, that's not what it's supposed to be. But to get up and running and operational and get some really great tips along the way. And of course, you and I both know a number of the authors, Joe and Josh and Jeff Carlson. I can go right down the line.
The beauty is I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, this was a pick that I had on my list to name. So you stole it from me, and I'm glad you did. This is a great pick.
Grand Theft Christmas pick.
Yeah.
Now, I've always liked that, like you were saying, they don't always tell you every single thing, but they give you enough of a tutorial. I don't know if tutorial would be the right word for like a 300-page book, but by the end, you've learned the overriding arc of that system or that software so that you can logically say, well, they do this and they do this way. I wonder if, it's like the old days when I first got into computing, when I first discovered what the option key could do. I could change every single menu with the option key. It was like, it can do what? And I would sit for hours at the computer just pushing the option key. And these books, in sort of that way, you get the arc and you get sort of really excited about that piece of software or that procedure like the paperless office. And you may just start with little bits at a time, but sometimes maybe it is best overall that you learn one thing, get that down properly, and then move on to the next. And then eventually it all adds up, and over time, you may become a Jedi on that software. You may not, but you're going to have a better understanding of what it can be done with it.
Well, and one other thing about Take Control books, they don't, with a couple exceptions, because of the sophistication of the respective programs, they tried to hold the size down. So we're not talking about 800 and 900 page ebooks. We're talking about maybe 200, 250, give or take. Yeah. Again, there are a couple exceptions to that, but for the most part, and the ones that have the exceptions are A, very powerful programs, and B, you can pick up different areas of the program that you want to.
Well, the other thing I also like is they update them constantly.
Yes.
And if you already own the book, you can pick from, I think it's 4 different formats to download the book in. If you already have that book in your library, you can invariably, when they upgrade it, pick it up, unless it's a super major upgrade. If it's a regular upgrade, because let's say you went from Catalina, they just did Monterey. They went to a second version. I only had to pay $750, half the price.
Right.
You got the book. Plus, if you go in the book, they have little links throughout it. So you can jump, like if there's just a certain thing you want to know about that software, you hit the link, it'll take you right to that part of the book. Plus, at the end, there's this little extra links. Like, I don't know what it takes you to. It's like little reservoirs of knowledge that aren't necessarily in the book. But it's like, if you want to delve deeper, you go there.
And the authors are, for the most part, they're all online and they're always super responsive. Yeah. That if you have a particular question about something in the book or something you can't find in the book, they will do their best to help you. And that's no small thing. And if you stop and think about that, anybody that publishes a book and says, hey, I'll try to support it online, I mean, they can get an awful lot of email in a day, and they do their best. And that's, again, that's one more distinctive thing as opposed to ordering something off of Amazon.
Right.
From somebody.
Plus I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, from somebody you've never heard of. here, and that, again, that's why I like to have them on Mac Voices, because you find out that these are real people, real people that really know their stuff, and they talk about it and let you know just how much how much time
like
they
you were
spent.
saying, if you email them, they'll give you an answer. They won't say, "Oh, go to chapter bump, and that's the end of the email." They will actually sort of engage you in the conversation to a degree. You may not end up with like going back and forth with 4 letters, but they will put in layman's terms what you should do in that situation.
Yeah, great pick, great pick to finish up.
That was easy enough.
Yeah, that really is. It's one of those that we all get hung up on the hot new hardware and the hot new software, and we forget about the best ways to learn some of the stuff. So,
it was a tie. My fourth pick was a tie between Take Control Books and Pepperoni Pizza.
Yeah,
but Control Books won out.
I think that's fair. Frank, thank you for doing this. As I've said before, we weren't able to get everybody into all the panels, but I wanted to make sure that anybody that wanted to participate could. So we're doing this. Where can folks find you when you're not here picking gifts?
Well, I have now joined the craze of getting off of Facebook. So you can find me there no longer. You can find me on the tweets at Petrie. You can find me on Instagram at PHRANKY. And also I write a monthly article or review for Screencasts Online. And I also have my own website, my own blog, where I do observations and weird things I'm trying to do and reviews, called ympnow.com.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Frank. Really appreciate you being here.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, Mike. Round 4, last pick for 2021 Holiday Gift Guide. Are you going to finish big, finish small, finish expensive, finish cheap? What are you doing to us?
Finishing big, finishing expensive. Yeah. So this is very new to me. Very new. Just received it a couple days ago. So you get to be witness to the unboxing to my Elgato Stream Deck XL.
Oh my.
Now, I should point out, this is the big guns. This is the one that has, 32 keys on it. 32 little keys. I'm just opening it for the first time here. Manuals? We don't need no stinking manuals. Let's get that out of here.
We've never had an unboxing on the Gift Guide show before, so this is breaking new ground.
Look at this. Brand new. I kept it in the box just for you, Chuck. All right, we're going to open this up. Ooh, look at this, shiny. Okay. So, this doesn't look very impressive as is. There's an LCD panel behind all these keys so that you can create custom key actions for every single one of these, and they light up. You can design what goes behind these. You can put custom icons on there, design what goes behind each of those to control your live streaming software, gaming, Twitch, YouTube, the lighting in your home. There's all kinds of things you can do with these. In my particular case, I'm going to use it for live streaming purposes. So I'm actually going to be using it with Ecamm Live. And so you can set up different camera angles on these buttons. You can turn on recording, pause, play, all those kind of things. But this is the Stream Deck XL with 32 keys. Now, there's also a Stream Deck Mark II with 15 keys and a Stream Deck Mini that has 6 keys. And I was debating long and hard between the 15 and 32, and I decided, why not? I'll get the one with more keys because there's always room to grow. And one of the things I like about the XL and the Mark II is that while it is on this cool little base here, it's magnetically attached to it. Ooh. So the cable that plugs into the back, you can either set this straight on your desk as is if you want a nice flat unit sitting on your desk. But this, it literally just unpacked it. Peel off this plastic. It's got a non-stick surface on it to give it a nice grippy grip on your desk. And then the Stream Deck itself magnetically attaches to the base. And the 15 key Mark II also has that feature. But USB detachable USB-C cable on the back, no additional power supply, plugs directly into your Mac or Windows computer, and the software is free. The box is not free. The software is free. You can download it ahead of time. You can even download a light version of it for your iPhone or your iPad and play around with, how you can configure the keys and things like that ahead of time. But if you like the little clicky keys and the ability to customize each of those, what's even cool? What I just learned, I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos on these. You can set up folders on these keys so that underneath a particular folder, you can put an entirely new configuration of keystrokes. So you're not just limited to the 32 keys. You can set up folders along here, and each one of those can have a different custom set of keys in there. And there's a lot more to learn about it that I can't possibly explain in just a couple minutes in this gift guide. But one of the things I like is that it will self-adjust to the software that you're running at a given time too. So I am really eager to give this a go. I think it's going to be a great addition, really streamline the workflow, and save a lot of, clicking that little play button on screen or what have you as you're working in the software. You can just assign a key action to one of these buttons, and you can even stack actions to a particular button. So maybe after I've had a chance to play with that some more, I'll come back on and we can talk about it some more. But I expect you can probably get someone from Elgato to come and give you a much better demo of this than I ever could. But this one, the 32 key one, is $249, $249.99. The 15 key is $149.99, and the 6 key is $79.99. So if there's a gamer or a live streamer or someone who just wants to more efficiently use some of the software in their life, like this will even work with Final Cut and things like that, you might consider this as a nice little gift for them this holiday season, or a gift for yourself. So expensive and what was it? And big. Expensive and big. I think I met two of your criteria there, Chuck.
Oh, Mike. So I have a Stream Deck, but I wasn't sure how I would like it. So I went with just the 6 key, figuring that, small investment. And I love it.
Yeah.
And I've been looking at the larger ones, and now I did not know about the folder sets to, put in more key sets, if you will. So that's just one more reason.
I just learned that.
So, yeah, you may have.
I had no idea you could do that. Yeah. Well, I try. What I don't know is if you
go ahead.
If you have a mini, what I don't know is if you can have multiple minis plugged in at one time. I figured I might outgrow the 6 key mini pretty quickly, and so it really was a difference of the 15 versus 32. And there was I did purchase this on Amazon. I think there was a slight discount on it, but I did look today before recording, and it's one of those in-demand items. So very often they sell at full retail on the site.
Right.
But once in a while you'll find a discount on them, and just your typical Amazon dollars off kind of thing. So
you cost me money coming in, you cost me money going out, and you have me thinking about some things in the middle. So I'd say that's a pretty successful gift guide appearance.
I know you want that Doctor Who TARDIS hub.
Yeah. I will neither confirm nor deny. Mike, where can folks find you when you're not here costing me money?
Oh gosh, probably the best ways to find me would be on Twitter at MacStockExpo, or MacStockConferenceandExpo.com would be the MacStock website. You can also find me at forMacEyesOnly.com. Those are probably the best places to find me.
Excellent. Thanks so much. Really, really appreciate you being here. Looking forward to MacStock, whatever form it takes this coming year. And hey, happy holidays to you, your wife, your daughter, the whole crew. Miss seeing you this year, but hopefully next year.
Sounds good. Thanks so much, Chuck. Thanks for having me on, and happy holidays to everyone in the MacVoices crew, too.
That wraps up the MacVoices Holiday Gift Guide series for 2021. I hope you've enjoyed it. I certainly have. It's always great to get together with all these people, even if in some cases it's only once a year. But we have a great time. As you can tell, there's a lot of laughter. It's what the holidays are all about for me. I wish you and yours, no matter what you celebrate, the happiest of holidays. And until the next time, I'm Chuck Joyner. Thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with MacVoices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you Mac Voices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.